Hello and thanks for joining me on another vlog. Today I wanted to talk about my top 5 favourite mobile smartphone photo based apps. These might be editing apps, they might be photo sharing apps, but these are my 5 favourite ones. And I also wanted to say that I use an Android device, so some of these might not transfer over to iPhone, and iPhone users might not be able to use these. I'm not sure. I know there are generally iPhone only apps, so I assume that most of the Android ones are available on iPhone, but I'm not sure. So hopefully you can check these ones out. The first one I wanted to talk about is open camera. On some phones, the native camera is not very good. So using open camera, it opens your control over the camera. You can do so much different stuff, and it allows you that creative control to use your phone for proper smartphone photography rather than just capturing snapshots. I think it's a very clever app, and it's one that I've turned to a lot more, because even though I've got a Huawei P10 Lite and it does do some decent stuff, I feel and find that open camera works a lot better sometimes in certain situations. If I just have a look on here, you can change the camera resolution to start with. You can change your focus like to infinity, focus to infinity. You can do macro. You can lock your focus as well, which I find quite useful sometimes. There's loads of different stuff. You can do HDRs easily, timer, white balance, change your white balance, change the scene. You can slow the shutter down. You can bracket as well. So it's all clever stuff that you'd probably expect to see on a mobile phone which is more dedicated to photography. But whatever smartphone you've got, I think open camera is available to you, and it will just enable you to do a little bit more with your smartphone in terms of photography. So that's the first one, and that's kind of how I'm sort of going to go through the process of taking the image and then maybe editing the image. So the next one is the editing. Google Snapseed is I feel by far the best free editing app on Android. It allows you to just do so much. It allows you to just play with your image and bring it to life in a way that you couldn't without dedicated software, perhaps putting it on your computer. So it has stuff like, you've probably seen, I've done a video before, I'll link it up here, about using it to edit wall-to-wall photography using this phone. But it gives you a load of filters, a bit like Instagram, but then you can do more than that. You can, if I just go through, stay current, you can open the tools and you can fine-tune the image, you can play with the curves, you can play with the white balance, the perspective, you can brush stuff out, you can change the tone, you can make it black and white, you can give it a lens blur, double exposure. You can do so much with it. It just allows you to drill down that a little bit more with your smartphone photography captured images and create something that is more professional and perhaps that you're more happy with. I don't do a lot of editing, but this has allowed me to do more on location. So if I take an image and then go back and sit in the van, or just take a seat on a bench nearby or by the waterfall and just enjoy being within nature, you can edit your stuff on the go before you share it, which I feel is definitely a good thing, and I think that Snapseed is by far the best one to do that with. I also wanted to touch on filters. On Snapseed you can just bang a filter on, but I think I like using vintagey filters, and this app, which I'm going to talk to you now about, is called 1967. Congratulations if anyone was born in 1967. And you can apply different vintage filters, and it's so easy. There's like when you start looking at hashtags for vintage stuff, it's easy to jump on board that sort of trend. And there's so many apps that say that you can use filters, and they've got the best filters, but I think 1967 is my favourite vintage style ones. You do have to pay to unlock more. You get a sort of set amount, which are good anyway. You don't need to pay to get the other ones. You know what I'm like about paying for stuff, typical Yorkshire boy. But it's great. You can it's just, yeah, it's very shareable, and in today's society where we do share stuff, it's great, and it pulls in all your images from Open Camera, for instance, and you can crop it. So I'm cropped to a square crop. I've got a picture that I took today here. Crop it's so easy to use as well, and then you can bang on filters easily, and there's great, there must be 20, 30, 40, maybe more. Some of them you have to pay for, some of them you don't. That one's not letting me do it. Oh, that one's not letting me do it. But it's not a bad. You can unlock 64 for 99 cents. So for $1, whatever that is in whatever country's currency you're watching from. But there's some great ones, and I think it's great. It's a really good app, and there's loads that you can unlock. I think there's about 10 altogether where you don't need to pay any money for, but they're good. They're good filters for your images, and I encourage you to download that one if you're into vintage filters and vintagey sort of sharing vintage retro style imagery. The next one is all about image sharing, and it's Instagram. If you're not on Instagram, I encourage you to get on Instagram, because it's a great community and you can really grow your presence and get your images seen by people as well, which is always a good thing. And for instance, I'm on Instagram, Joseph Seager. I've got loads of people that I follow, and I've got a few followers as well, and I love just sharing my stuff. Like the other day I shared a behind the scenes image, and it's so user friendly. I know it's now owned by and run by Facebook, so there's more ads being shown and stuff like that, but I think, well, I can sort of switch off to ads now and again. Doesn't really bother me seeing them, I just keep on scrolling. But Instagram is great, and you can meet some fantastic people through that. Some of the people that I talk to weekly, I speak to via Instagram. They're not all people that I've met in real life. They're people that are part of photography groups, but Instagram lets you talk to them, and you can message people, and you can comment, and you can be inspired, and you can inspire as well. But being inspired is great, but being able to inspire others is fantastic, and Instagram is a great outlet for that. So if you're not on it, I encourage you to get on it, and yeah, please do follow me and send me a message, and I'm quite happy to follow you back as well. And the final one is also linked to Instagram, and Instagram has started doing stories. So as well as having images on there which stay there all the time on your feed, you can do stories. So they last for 24 hours. And Instagram has ways of you, sort of quite basic ways of you creating your stories, which people can click on, and it runs for like 10 seconds, and then you can create more and more, so that they can see your day in the life of me, for instance, unfolding, and they can like and they can comment on that kind of stuff. But I found an app which I'm really happy about. It's called Unfold, and I've been using it for a few weeks now on my Instagram, and I think it just allows you to create a slightly more professional, very book-looking, sort of novelesque way of creating your Instagram stories. And not just that, you don't have to share them on Instagram, you can save them as images themselves, and you can share them in other places as well. But I'm happy with them. They look, it's just a really nice app, and it's user friendly, and it's easy to work through, and it's not too clunky or buggy, and it's all free as well, so that's another bonus. And yeah, it's a good way to not use Instagram story graphics and texts and the fonts that they use. You can use other ones, and you can maybe make yourself stand out from the crowd a little bit more. So yeah, I encourage you to go and download Unfold, and your stories might unfold a little bit. I presume that's where the title of the app came from. But yeah, they're my 5 favourite apps for smartphone photography at the moment on my Android device. If I had an iPhone, they might be slightly different, I'm not sure. But hopefully you can check them out. Hopefully this video's been useful and a little bit insightful maybe, and hopefully you can join me over on Instagram, and hopefully these other apps will help improve your smartphone photography and let you play around as well, which, if we're not having fun, then kind of what's the point? So hopefully it'll let you have a bit more fun with smartphone photography, which is definitely a good thing. So as always, thanks for joining me on this one, and I'd love for you to join me next week on another video. I'm not sure where it'll be from, but hopefully you can. And until then, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.